Thank you guys for joining us. My name is Jerry Hello. I lead the data activation team at Softcrylic. We're here today to talk about DataFacts. It's one of Adobe's first data anomaly detection tool built on Project Firefly, or as known now, App Builder. And with me is Sundar. Sundar, you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Jerry. Hi, everyone. My name is Sundar Sridharan, and I'm Senior Director of Software Development and Testing at Softcrylic. That's my title. Over a decade, I've been helping Softcrylic clients build enterprise softwares and then release them with quality on time. But recently, for the past 2 years, I'm extremely focused on enterprise data architecture and data quality. And data quality is keeps me awake at night, and I'm very excited to show you a solution or a tool that we have built to solve the data quality issues within AEP. Excited to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to highlight that the reason we actually ended up building this was because of the client needs. So we noticed as we started doing Adobe Experience Platform implementations that there was a gap in fully identifying when there's a problem when data is brought into the platform. So if the question is why DataFacts, it's actually to solve 4 distinct issues that we've seen. The first one is data validity. So think about it, think about how the data you're bringing into a platform. There might be different data sources. This is going to feed into a schema, but there is a lot of data in there. It can be coming in as a JSON, or it can be coming in as a flat file. So to have consistent and a consistent source of truth within the platform, you want to have clean, valid data always fed into it. In addition to that, completeness. In many cases, we want to build this 360-degree view of the customer, but how do we know where there is certain days data is missing, or certain attributes for some records are missing? It happens. Data is never perfect, but we want to know when there's an issue. If you combine validity and completeness, on the other extreme is duplicates. Duplicates in some cases not only impacts your cost of the platform, since you might be charged based on the records and number of profiles, but also from performance. Think about, you're going to be running heavy queries. It's not good to have duplicate data if that's not the case. And when it comes to duplicates, it's beyond just a single record. We're talking about identities. So depending on how you're building your identity, whether it's on a household level or a personal account level, their duplicates might be sneaking in without fully knowing. And finally, data consistency. Our tool look at making sure that the data that you're replicating, whether it's being brought in from the data warehouse or a data lake into Experience Platform, there's always consistency. So at any point you're looking at records and doing validation between both systems, you're not, there's no surprises. And with that, I wanted to hand it over to Sundar, who's going to eventually go through a demo. So we're going to show you the tool specifically, but initially Sundar is going to walk through the approach, because this is not a simple problem to solve, and it's really neat on how we approached it and solved for it. All you, Sundar.
Thank you, Jerry. Okay, so as Jerry pointed out, so from our customers, we used to hear many data quality issues, and these data quality issues can be categorized into any of these 4 buckets. So when we started looking at what would be the right approach from a technical solution standpoint to solve this data quality issues, we tried many things, but the 2 things that really worked out very well for expectations and machine learning. I'll talk about expectations first. It is basically a framework. So you can think of expectations, particularly for the data users, a way for them to express their domain knowledge about the data. So in technical terms, like expectations are like assertions for data. So they're very declarative, very flexible, and then extensible. So you can create expectations like, I expect my column values to be unique for a particular column, or I expect my column values to be in a set which represents departments within our company. So using framework, like, all your domain knowledge about the data can be converted into code, and these expectations can be used to validate your data as and when new data is ingested into your AEP experience platform. So not only this rules-based approach has helped us, but in some instances, like, in order to detect data quality issues, what we had to do was we have to look at the past history of the data and also identify patterns and also do some predictions and then, identify data quality issues. In those cases, like, the machine learning models really helped us a lot. So we built active learning machine learning models that actually looks at your past data, identify the historic trends, and then, builds patterns and learns from the data, and then it detects data anomalies and duplicates. Particularly these machine learning models or active machine learning models, as I mentioned, they keep learning as and when new data is ingested into AEP, and then use that learning knowledge to detect, data anomalies and duplicates. So using these two approaches, like the expectations and our machine learning models, we built DataFacts. So DataFacts is, from a technology standpoint, it is actually Adobe Firefly app or the app builder app. And it hosts a lot of like Softcrylic's data quality automation libraries that actually identifies data quality issues as and when new data is ingested into AEP, and then it does all of this automatically. So that's on the technology side. So the two main features of our tool is like, first, it detects AEP data users about data quality issues and anomalies at a record level and a column level for all of your AEP data sources, the data that you're ingesting into AEP. And another big feature is like we have built host a lot of data quality dashboards that helps our clients to measure the quality of the customer data that's there in AEP, and also help them to identify and resolve data quality issues using our drill down reports. So we have deployed our tool, in a couple of our client instances, AEP instances, and what we see or our clients have realized these benefits is like, first is the better audience targeting, because your segment now can use quality data about your customers. Now you are using this quality data, you are able to target your customers with more accuracy. And also, like, some of the campaigns that are activated through the quality checked segments, like we have seen, has increased customer engagement and satisfaction and retention. And particularly, like, our data dedupe customer profile level helps to save marketing dollars by reducing the cost, right, by removing all the duplicate customer profiles. And also it improves campaign effect. So these are some of the benefits that our actual customers are able to realize using our DataFacts tool. So before any further ado, I wanted to show a quick demo of the tool and then go through a few examples as well. So I'm going to move. I can show our tool and get started. Okay. So here is a general UI of our tool. Basically, like, after our Firefly app is installed in your AEP instance, basically starts with a setting screen in our app. So in the setting screen,
So
once the app is installed.
Do you mind just going full screen, just so that
sure.
it's a little more visible? Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jerry.
Thank you.
Okay. So after our app is installed on top of your AEP instance, so our app will automatically like read all the data sets in your AEP instance and then present it here for you. So as a user of our tool, you can go to your data set and enable various different quality checks for your data sets. So we have different checks like validating the data, validating the actual quality of the data, completeness of the data, and any duplicate customer profiles inside your AEP instance as a whole. So you can enable different quality checks. And also for each of the quality checks, you can set up different thresholds. So setting up this threshold depends upon how much you are going to tolerate issues. So if you are really very keen on your data quality issues, it's like a low threshold. But if you are somewhat lenient because like that there are data quality issues in your tool to some extent, you can set up little higher threshold. But we recommend like by default the system automatically sets up 5%. So your data quality checks that you wanted to do on your data sets and data, you do all those checks and then make changes to your data quality settings. The moment you save the changes, what our tool is going to do is it's actually going to look at the past 3 months of data that's already there in the data set. It's going to profile the data, identify the schemas, identify the nature of the data, like if it is an email data, the appropriate email validations are set. If it is a mobile phone number, appropriate mobile phone number validations are set. If it's a city, country, based on the data, our tool sets various different data quality checks. And also what it does is, more importantly, as and when new data is ingested, a batch is ingested, our tool identifies that there is a new data ingested into the tool, into your AEP. Then it immediately scans the data, runs the data quality checks, and then builds the data quality reports. So our various different data quality reports. Here is a report on data validity, and here is a report on completeness. This is based on machine learning models and metrics. And here also you have duplicate reports, and we also have a quick feedback section, feedback section where if there are any reports or any data quality issues that are identified by our tool is not in alignment with your business, you can quickly open up a bug request with us, or like you can also ask for new features. And also, like more importantly, we have like in-app notifications and email notifications. So every time when there is new data ingested, and every time when our tool runs data quality checks on the data, it provides like notifications whether like particular batch has good quality or it has data quality issues. It just reports in the in-app notification. So I'm bringing the in-app notification. It's taking a little while here. Okay, hopefully it's coming up. So I'm going to just leave it here. Now, I'm going to show you a few examples of like how using our DataFacts tool, you can, AEP users can identify data quality issues at a record level and column level and resolve those data quality issues. So I want to start with the first example, which is a validity report. Here, I'm going to actually pick one example from here for a selected date. I'm going to select 27th as a for this example. So here you could see I'm selected a particular date, and then I'm going to actually do a filter. So we do have various different filters. So you can filter these reports based on your data set, or even on the batch ID on which the data was ingested, and your column name, and various different filters. And here we also have metric section for particularly for this particular day. We saw like 18 million records into AEP, out of which like 20,000 records failed our quality checks. So here I'm going to select a particular data set to do a filter for this report. So I'm selecting like one of our data sets, and then I'm actually going to select a particular column. So once you select the data set, the system is going to bring all the columns that is related to that data set. Because that data set is a huge data set, it's bringing all the columns. So I'm going to focus on a particular column, which is email address. So I'm selecting the email address, and you can select a particular validation that you are very focused on, or particular expectation that you are focused on. But here, for our case, like, I'm going to select, a validation that's been done on the email addresses, and I'm going to apply the filter. So After you've selected all your filters, you can apply the filter to, look at a specific error record in your data set. So here I'm applying my filters. So here you could see I'm focusing on a particular error validation. So here this data set is basically like Salesforce contacts data set. I'm looking at a particular batch of data that was ingested. So in this batch, I could see that like almost like 500,000 records were ingested, out of which 20,000 records didn't have any email address. And for whatever the records we had the email addresses, we found like 70 records that has invalid email address. So now at a record level, it is showing you, where there are data quality issues with respect to this email. So I'm clicking on the details, I'm drilling down my report. So when you drill down on the report, what we are doing is we are collecting more details about this data quality issue and then presenting it here. So here you could see, again, like, here is the record, the error record that you have selected. Here we are showing what was actually validated. What we are expecting, here is that for this particular column, email address, at least % of time, we are expecting the email address to be valid. But here you could see some of the email addresses are not here. There is no full domain name. Here you could see at the end of the username, there is a period. So these are all like invalid email addresses. Suppose you are like, these customer profiles are in a segment and then they are being targeted for email campaign. These emails are not going to go away because, these are invalid email addresses. So this is an example of like how using our DataFacts tool, you can identify data quality issues at a record level and a column level. And I also wanted to take a quick moment to show you another example of our tool. Only validating data quality issues for a single column. There are in real world scenarios, there are some times where you have to validate the quality of the data based on column combination. You might have business rule. When my column is X, I want to see Y value in my other column. So there is like, our tool supports those kind of column combination logics as well. So here I'm going to show you a quick example of how you can identify issues with the column. So here I'm going to select another date. So here I'm applying. So here, what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to select this record straight away. Here, actually, what we are doing is I'll go to the details, drill down details here. Again, like, we are bringing in the data quality issues, getting all the details, and then presenting it here. So here for the column combination, so what we are validating is we are validating if the city is a valid city for the selected country. So here you could see in the error records, we have countries, we have valid country names, but if you look at the city, the customer profiles, they are not complete. We just have a comma here. And there are lots of records like this. So here you could see there are like 48 records have any city name for a customer profile that belongs to United Kingdom. So further click on the details here to actually look at the complete record in context with other data. So here I'm clicking on the details, another drill down that's available within our tool. So now what's happening is our tool is actually trying to get sample complete records from AEP and it's going to present it here for your review so that you can look at this error in context of other data that you have in AEP. So here you could see that it's just giving you the context, the complete context of the records. So here you could see like, the address country was United Kingdom, but the city just a comma. There's no full city name here. And also like what we do is we provide another function, which is like copy SQL query. You can copy a query for all the error records because here we are just only presenting few sample error records. You can take this query, go into your AEP interface, put in the query and run it so that you can see all the error records. So here I have just to save time here, I have already executed this query. And here you could see there are like 48 records, which doesn't have city name for this country. So that's another example of the validity errors, that can be identified using our tool. So our tool validates each and every data value in your columns, and sometimes in the combination of columns, and then identifies data quality issues. So now I'm actually going to show data quality validation on completeness. So how do we validate completeness of data, particularly with AEP? You know, how we are doing is we are actually for AEP, we are looking at key metrics like number of records ingested into the data set, number of identities that were added, number of identities stitched together to create the identity graph, number of profiles added to your AEP instance, number of profiles updated into your AEP instance. These key metrics give you a scale to measure the completeness of your data. So here, this measurement of this completeness is done through our machine learning models. So here I'm going to show you an example of how you can identify completeness issue. Here I'm going to select a particular date. I'm going to focus on a particular date, which is on 28th. To take an example, so here I'm going to select a particular data set, and I'm applying my data set filter here. And here you could see I'm focusing on a particular error record. So here what we are presenting here is on September 28th for Adobe Audience Manager real-time data set, there's a lot of records were ingested, but the number of records ingested is not as we expect. So here you could see, I'm going to go into the details, I'll show you. So here you could see on September 28th, the number of records ingested into this data sets were just 200,000. But based on the past patterns, past data, what we have seen is there are millions of records that are ingested into this data set on a daily basis. So our machine learning model predicted that at least 4 million date records should be ingested on this particular date. But what we saw is only 200,000 records ingested. So this might lead into an incomplete profile creation, incomplete graph creation, identity graph creation. So we are marking this as a data anomaly and then alerting the AEP users, hey, on this day you didn't have enough data records ingested, so please check your system. And also we are not only alerting on ingestions or record ingestions or profiles added, we also are reporting on higher level. We call this upper bound anomalies. Basically, you're getting more records on this particular day on 14th of September. You're getting a little bit more than usual records. Sometimes this may be okay. You have more traffic. There's some seasonality to it, so you're getting more records. But sometimes what we have seen is there is so much of records being ingested. Sometimes this may be due to a data pipeline issue running twice, or a batch ingestion issue. So what we are seeing here is how you can identify data completeness issues using this metrics and data anomaly detection. Finally, as a last example, I also wanted to show you how our tool identifies duplicate customer profiles. So duplicate customer profile is a very important, dedupe detection is very important in AEP, because these duplicate customer profiles, impacts your marketing budget. You'll be spending more email campaigns to the same customer, or if you're using text messaging, or even mail marketing, you're basically duplicates will make waste the marketing budget. So here in this example, what I'm showing here is how our tool identifies duplicates. Again, tool uses machine learning models to identify duplicates. We don't identify duplicates just based on the repeated values in records. No, we actually take that whole customer profile and then pick specific features in the customer profile, like email addresses, first name, last name, their address, and various other attributes of a customer profile, and use that features to learn about the customer profiles. And for the whole AEP system, we identify similar records, and then we group those similar profiles into clusters. So here what you could see is that I have a cluster the cluster ID is 18 and it has 28 customer profiles, which we have marked that as duplicates. So here I'm going into the details. I'm bringing those customer profiles here. So here, as we are bringing the customer profiles from AEP, I also want to map. So basically, the stream map is what it tells you is that it's not just the current cluster ID, which is 18 that has 28 duplicate customer profiles. There are other clusters in your AEP system. There are lots of other clusters of duplicates, and some of them have 11 customer profiles or 9 customer profiles, but some have even more. So that's what this is representing. So I'm just going to hide this stream map. Here, I'm going to look at the actual data. Here, you could see this is the actual data, like customer profile data, that email address, stuff like that. But if you look at the email address, you might think like, oh, all these are like unique profiles, like why is duplicates? But if you look at like your business, you see the business phone number, they all look same. They're different. But if you look at like the postal code, they're same. How can be that may be a same postal code for different addresses? And if you look at the names, you see the names, first name, James Smith. And I think this is a perfect example. Probably there is a real James Smith whose record was like ingested on a multiple times. But looking at the post and the phone number, definitely it just seems like somebody is playing with his customer data, and then probably it's a or something that got ingested into AEP. And these are all duplicate customer profiles. If you send email campaigns to all of them, everything is going to go to the same person, which is James Smith. So this is an example of how using our tool, you can identify. So these are just examples of data quality issues, that you can identify using our tool. That's a lot more, but due to time constraints, I was able to only pick up these examples and show to you guys.
Thank you, Sundar. Yeah,
Thanks, Jerry.
this demo, it's amazing that you're able to fit it all in these quick 20 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah, so
I'm going to bring this. Sorry.
Excellent. Yes. Yeah, I think one key thing that I want to make sure you touch on before we wrap it up is, in Adobe, there is this AEP data flow monitoring. And can you quickly just highlight the main things that DataFacts does differently?
That's a great question. Yeah, we get these questions a lot. Yes, in Adobe, there is some level of monitoring, and there are guardrails, to take care of data quality issues. But how our tool DataFacts is different from Adobe's data flow monitoring. The first thing is, yes, in fact, it has some guardrails. But what we do with DataFacts is we have an extensive data quality validation. So our tool first, as into a data set, it profiles the data, it understands what type of data is in each and every column and record, and based on the profile, it automatically creates various different validations, right? As I mentioned that if it's email data, we create email validation. If a column, if we see a particular column doesn't have any null values, then we make sure that that column in future also should not hold any null values. Similarly goes for mobile phone numbers and stuff like that. AEP doesn't do that out of the box. So our tool automatically understands the profile of the data and then assigns various validations for it. Number two is completeness of the data. So completeness of the data within AEP, there is a 360-degree view of the customer profile. It is measured based on different metrics. So we are measuring the completeness of data using historic patterns, historic data, and then predicting future values. That kind of extensive prediction and identifying data anomalies is not done by AEP. Similarly goes for customer profile duplicates. As I showed in the example, we are not just looking for values repeated in the records. We are taking different features of the customers and then looking for customers who look alike and then combine them to see if there is confidence that these are duplicate customer profiles, then present it to you. The machine learning based dedupe detection is not available in AEP. Yes, in AEP, there is some level of alerting mechanism. The monitoring dashboards give you data ingestion and data flow failures. Our tool also does that. And finally, like the root cause analysis, like, which record, which batch, on which day, which time, you had the data quality issues, that kind of a detailed data quality analysis and reports, that's not an AEP, and DataFacts does that.
Excellent. Yes, I agree with that. There is a lot more that this product shows versus the monitoring. I know we're at time. I think the last thing I want to say is thank you for everyone. Thank you, Sundar, for going through the demo. We are not yet in the App Exchange. We're going to be releasing that soon, but that doesn't mean that you cannot get your hands on this product. Just hit us up, either me or Sundar, or go to softcrylic.com/datafacts and submit a request. We're actually running a promo allowing clients to use this product for free with one Adobe data source. So it's a good place to start. But yeah, for any other questions, please reach out to us. We would love to talk about the product and see how it can help you and your clients in solving any data ingestion issues. Great. Thank you, Sundar.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
All right. See ya.
All right. Bye.